In addition to the fact, for example, that, as I've mentioned quite a few times, the CCP claims to have lifted the Chinese people out of poverty. And you hear a lot of academics, even respectable ones, noting this because it's the narrative the CCP pushes. What really happened? The Chinese Communist Party took over China. They pushed out the Kuomintang, which was the government which had been weakened after fighting the Japanese during World War II. The Kuomintang fled to Taiwan, established a government there. The Chinese Communist Party was seen as the illegitimate government. The Taiwanese government was seen as the legitimate government of China for a very long time, including by the United States. The UN overturned that. Then what happened? Chinese Communist Party brought every single system in the country under the control of the military, the PLA, People's Liberation Army. Then they launched different movements to purge the culture, to purge the Chinese people, to kill off everything they were. It destroyed Chinese history, it destroyed their religions, it destroyed temples, churches, monuments, structures, everything that defined what their culture was. And then it tried to claim that it represented Chinese culture. And then what do? They restricted every single person in the country from engaging in private business. And then finally, when they had the reform and opening up period under Deng Xiaoping around the time of the Tiananmen Square massacre, what happens? They give a bit of that back to the people. They take control of the businesses out from purely the military and give some to the state council, which became the government of China under the state council, which is still controlled by the Chinese Communist Party, and then let the Chinese people engage to an extent in some private business. And then when the Chinese people used the free market to recover a little bit of what they had lost, the CCP claimed that it lifted the Chinese people out of poverty. As I've mentioned before, and I'll say it again, that is equivalent to holding someone's head underwater, and then when you lift them out, claiming you saved them from drowning. That is what the Chinese Communist Party did to the Chinese people. And folks, that is again the narrative being pushed around the world. That is the narrative being pushed by our media. That is a narrative being pushed by all these different so-called academics and journalists and think tanks and so on who are trying to influence U.S. policy on China, and also trying to promote the system of government they have there, the China model, here in the United States and in other countries. So going forward, folks, beware of the state. Beware of this statement, state capitalism, because this is what it refers to.